Thank you so much for the kind introduction, and thanks for the opportunity of being a speaker at this great conference. Indeed, I'm a professor of surgery in Amsterdam, and I'm going to talk to you about VR and gaming for surgeons. I have nothing to disclose on this. So a very important question to me is, why would you want to train all our staff using games or VR simulation? Because it's important to start with the why if you address these type of questions. Do you want to train them because you think it's good for retention, or because it's fun, or because you can prepare them for the unexpected? Maybe all of three. So I think about almost 20 years ago, I did my PhD on virtual reality simulation, and many people were doing or performing research in the same area at the time, and we all showed that VR worked. It was able to transfer knowledge, it was able to transfer skills. So okay, we said, well, let's give them a simulator. It was very hip and happening then, and there were these types of consoles. There are many out there. It doesn't really matter so much which one you give them. But what we heard a lot of it is, well, it's in the skills center and you have to go there, and that's an inconvenience. So we said, okay, we're going to solve these remarks. We're going to put it in the resident room, just next to your stuff. So we gave them the simulator, and well, just a quick guess. How much do you think such a simulator is being used if you put it right in front of the people who you want to play with it? Good guess. It's a sad result. Only 5% had even used it, and for a very small percentage of time. So even though you know people get better using it, and if you ask them, they all say it's fun to do, well, apparently it's not fun enough or it doesn't work enough. So what about reinforcing VR simulation, bringing the surgeon in a fully immersive VR environment? Would that solve the problem? There are a lot of beautiful sceneries out there you can put a simulator in, and you can augment the VR simulation with an AR environment. So you give them the simulator, and you put them in a very nice OR, and you, well, that should be, well, more lifelike. You cannot really imagine it. So you have the simulated task, and you can change, and you can... Beautiful. But does it work? Because that's the main question. It's still a simulator. It's still homework. I'm going back to, because you see, there is no real difference between augmented VR simulation and VR simulation. And that's an important message, I think, to convey, because are we going to develop the next Holy Grail, or is it the same type of homework? Now, is something that has shown to be effective in science really valid if it's not used? I think that's really something to think about. And how to address it, I like to refer to it as we have to unlearn teaching. Everyone wants to get better, no one wants to be taught. And we all hate homework. So how to solve that equation? First of all, I might have to explain a little bit the difference, although I think you are quite up to par with me, but still, if you see me here, you can say, well, this is a reflection of reality. A virtual reality simulation is a near-perfect simulation of what's underneath. Now, what's serious gaming? Serious gaming puts a layer over it, giving a different meaning to whatever substrate is beyond. And games really are the most elevated form of investigation. You don't have to teach anyone, a person or an animal, to play. Every vertebrate knows how to play. And why is it that gaming is a very powerful instrument? Why is, you know, I see all orange people running around there going for the games. You know, the gaming industry is way, way bigger than people going to the movies. So why is it? Can anyone say why it is? Because how more interactive, the more it sticks to your brain, right? Because it triggers emotions. And the way we remember stuff is by triggering our emotions. And you do not have to learn that to anyone. I mean, it goes for every age, for every age group. And what is smarter, or isn't it smart, than to use any platform people already carry, which is a smartphone? So that's what we did. We developed games. This is one called Medialis, and it's a quick snapshot game for knowledge. And then you can, you really have to make your choices fast. It's for anesthesiology, it's for surgery. And you can, well, a little clip of it, how it works. It's a really, really fast game. I'm going to go through it because it goes way too long otherwise. But you can challenge your educator. And even if he or she doesn't react, it's going to be on Facebook or on the playlists. And it's kind of hard if you have 10 residents challenging you and posting it all over social media if you don't, not to interact with them. And it works. Of course it works. If you practice, no matter how, you know that it works. So if I go back to OR staff, because these were the residents, but I'm not alone, I'm with my team. Why did you want to train OR staff using games or simulation? Because it's a matter of situational awareness. And you are as strong as your weakest link, and in the OR that's certainly the case. So focusing on situational awareness is a really good starting point when you start with the why. And you can do that perfectly using games. But then first you have to do your homework as well. So we went looking for, are there any randomized controlled trials on gaming in surgery? And if it actually works, there were none. So we did that search and we published it, and this article was in high demand. It was on number 2 of the BGS, indicating that many people were at least interested in this search, or why we were looking at it. And well, we elaborated on that. We developed a game for situational awareness, which is actually just mimicking a normal game that people like to play. It's Candy Crush, or you can do Tetris or whatever. But then somewhere halfway the game, you're stuck if you don't solve the reason why the game is not able to proceed. And I can talk to you a little bit more in detail later, but it's essentially a monitor that goes broke if you don't fix it. And for that you have to know your laparoscopic stuff. Now, if we know all this about gaming, how does it translate into practice? You can do it very simple, and I'll give you an example. When we train our residents using the OR towers, the Olympus towers, or the laparoscopic stack, we call it the terrible towers, and we defect those towers. And they have to try to find the defects. And if they are good enough, they may fuck up the towers of their colleagues. And the fun thing about it is they need to have a basic level of knowledge in order to interact with the towers. But by giving them faulty towers and asking them to fuck up the towers of their colleagues, they still remember 3 years later what happened that day. This is another example, MasterChef. They have to cook a gallbladder. They have to collect all the instruments in order to be able to do the recipe of the gallbladder. And they have 5 minutes to collect their stuff. You won't believe what they grab on the table, but they will never forget it anymore. And that is, I think, a very elegant way of thinking about education. If you want to know more, these are my, how do you say, contact things. Thank you. Thank you so much.